Welcome to the Unicorn Millionaire Podcast, where we celebrate financial empowerment and pride all year long. I'm your host, Charly Stoever, a nonbinary Latinx money coach who's traveled solo to over 34 countries while helping my first-gen LGBTQIA+ and BIPOC community invest in the stock market and themselves. From my journey as a formerly undocumented Mexican American to diving into the world of finance as a stockbroker, I've learned firsthand the importance of financial independence and how you can be anti-capitalist while investing. I said what I said. Through my podcast, I share empowering stories and drop gems on gems, from how to be a Roth IRA freak to buying your first home. I started this podcast because I didn't see anybody like me talking about how to take advantage of capitalism. Whether you're tuning in for financial wisdom, wellness tips, or just to hear about my travels, I keep it real, fabulous, and magical. Subscribe to the Unicorn Millionaire Podcast and leave me a 5-star review. We're here, we're queer, and we're building wealth juntos, juntas, y juntes. Let's get into it. Hey y'all, how's it going? Today, I wanted to answer your questions about my 6-month money coaching program. I'm also doing this on Instagram. If you are not following me on Instagram, come twerk with me. And you can do that at Traveler Charly with a Y, because así se escribe en Mexico. So I'm just going to answer your questions about my money coaching program. So the way that it is laid out is that coaching is for 6 months, and the price of coaching is $6,000 paid upfront in full, or you can do 2 payments of $3,100. The second payment is due halfway through coaching. So what coaching includes is you get bi-weekly calls with me for an hour each. You also get WhatsApp access to ask me any questions about what we talked about, or you can listen to a podcast episode and be like, hey, Charly, I want to talk about this, or can you explain this thing to me in more detail that you mentioned in your podcast or in your content. I'd be all over the place, my email list, anything, you name it, and we can talk about it later in the next session. You also benefit a lot from WhatsApp access, so you don't feel like you can only talk to me every 2 weeks during our calls. So it's a very in-depth, very thorough how I help you and hold your hand through your wealth building process. Coaching also includes access to my exclusive money coaching curriculum, where I have recorded webinars on all types of topics from debt payoff, stock investing in your retirement accounts, understanding how to compare your investments, as well as the basics of just dumping crappy checking accounts, leaving big banks, and opening high yield savings accounts so you can go from making pennies in interest to thousands of dollars in interest a year just by moving your cash to the right place. So coaching is tailored to you. I only do coaching one-on-one with folks, because sometimes I get people asking me if I work with couples, but your partner will benefit from coaching without ever having to need to talk to me, because everything I help you with will carry on to your conversations with your partner or your loved ones if you're single, anybody else in your life. Once you become proactive talking about money, because that's what we do in coaching, we talk proactively about money and we remove the shame and fear out of it and turn it into neutral and exciting conversations. And that will definitely heal your relationship to money, as well as just your relationships. And you'll also be excited to talk about money, and you'll be like, ooh, who of my friends wants to talk about money? Who's scared about it? But I'm starting to understand what's up. So let me be the money person now in my friend group. So let's just go off with questions people have. So one question people have is, who is this coaching for? My coaching is for LGBT, BIPOC folks, first gens, and business owners, neurodivergent folks. I'm on the spectrum, and I attract a lot of neurospicy folks, because your vibe attracts your tribe. I tend to attract a lot of first daughters, eldest Latina daughters, because as a high achieving perfectionist who's always had to do the most in order to survive, I feel like I definitely attract these type of people. But I also help you make more money so you do less and rest. I tell a lot of my clients to go get massages and relax, because it's not cute. It's not sustainable when we're always hustling and burning ourselves out. Investing for our futures is a long-term game. And I'm all about celebrating and pausing. I personally go get massages sometimes multiple times a week because this wealth building journey, especially in this day and age with everything going on, it can be stressful. So in my coaching, we balance a lot of taking action in real time, whether it's like opening up a credit card because you are only using crappy debit cards or free cards that don't actually give you points, or opening up an investment account. And I help all my clients open up investment accounts themselves and open self-managed accounts. And I walk them through all the fancy white men words that you see when you're opening an account or when you're picking stocks that would normally scare you from doing this yourself. I help you do this yourself while being able to be like, oh, expense ratio is just the fancy white man word for the fee. Like these are the fees you're paying. So my coaching is thebomb.com. I love my clients. I love who I work with. Yes, I do work with men, but I've never had a cis man hire me for 6 months coaching. I think one of my first clients when I started 5 years ago was a cis dude, and he just wanted me to help him day trade. And what day trading is where you're like logging on while the stock market's open, and you're buying stock and then selling it in a few minutes so that you can capitalize off stock market fluctuations, which is how I used to make money when I was in grad school. After I quit my stockbroker job, I learned how to day trade. I'd make a couple $100 here and there, but I quickly stopped because it was boring, it was not fulfilling, and it was stressful. And I definitely enjoyed making money helping other LGBT BIPOC invest too. It just felt way more fulfilling for me to educate my people on how to build wealth instead of just looking at the stock market and being all stressed out about it. Another question I sometimes get is if I work with white people or people who aren't first gen. And the answer is yes, I do. I am white. I am Mexican. Every day I thank God I'm Latinx and that I speak Spanish and have culture and I know how to dance and how to season my food, but I am white. So I've never turned down a client and been like, you're white. No. And I've had a lot of clients who aren't first gen. You don't have to be the first in your family to have been born in the US and this whole saga. No, I've had clients who are white whose parents might have been immigrants from like, I don't know, Czechoslovakia or something. The common thread that my clients have is that they're way more stressed about money than they feel like they should be. They're making more than they ever have before, but they still feel like they could lose it all at any moment. They feel like they are the go-to finance person in their family, and they barely know what the fuck is going on with the stock market and investing. So they want to have more informed conversations with their loved ones. I've helped clients who are whites who've inherited 6 figures and were sitting on their money and were really feeling guilty about it and let it sit there and lose value to inflation for months because they didn't know what to do with it. I've helped my clients do that. I actually recorded a podcast episode with one of my clients, Lulu. If you look at my Unicorn Millionaire Podcast and just search podcast, just type in Lulu, Lulu. And I had them on my podcast to talk about how I helped them invest their 6-figure inheritance after months of avoiding it so that their money could stop rotting there and losing value to inflation. That's a common thread where I help clients who just have fuck tons of cash or they don't even know they have too much in cash, but I help them realize that they do and put it to work and invest it. I also help a lot of my clients who are feeling the dead weight of being in debt. I help them liberate themselves from the crushing weight of debt. I mean, I had a client who came to me who was in debt $33,000 and it was credit card debt, which credit cards have predatory interest rates. So she hired me. I helped her to crush that debt and raise her credit score by 100 points in like 4 months. And I helped her get excited about using credit cards instead of being all traumatized and scared about being in credit card debt. Now she's like going on trips to Europe with her credit card points and excited to take her husband with her to the lounge. So I really love what I do. And I work with all types of people. I work with full-time business owners. I work with people who have 9-to-5 jobs, who want nothing to do with starting a business. I work with people with 9-to-5 jobs who want to start a business because they want to diversify income streams and they know that their job is not safe. Any of y'all could lose your job at any moment. I think people thought that, oh, I'm in the public sector, so I'm good. But as we quickly seen with these federal layoffs, no job is safe, whether it's public or private in those sectors. And it's really important to diversify income streams and not put all your eggs in one basket. Another question that I get asked is, how do I prepare for the sales call with you? So the way my coaching works is that you book a one-on-one sales call with me so that I can get to know your goals. And it really, it's not a clean cut answer, but I'll walk you through it. So some sales calls, I ask people, okay, what's your cash? Where is it? Is it in a crappy checking account at Wells Fargo or high yield savings account? What matters less is the amount you have in places, but I'm really asking these questions to see how much you're avoiding your money or how on top of it you are, and how I can help you solve your problems, whether it's feeling stressed out about money or you just want to make sure that you're doing well or that you know you can be doing better with my expertise. That's really the point of the sales call. The last client who signed on to work with me, I realized after the call, I was like, wow, I didn't even ask her how much cash she had or how much money she had invested. But I sold her on the call on working with me because she was on my email list. She was listening to my podcast, and she asked me if coaching would be a good fit for her, because when the stock market crashed in April with the tariff shit show, y'all remember what happened. Everybody was losing their minds and trying to like buy euros and move to Europe and posting on Facebook groups, what should I do with my money? And trying to get advice from other people who had no idea what to do. And this client sold out of her stock and lost $6,000. And that was all I needed to know to be like, yeah, this cannot happen again. When you're managing your own money, you have to have the solid mindset and understand what to do when the stock market crashes, because it's not if, but when. The stock market has always crashed and it always will. So in my coaching, that's what I told this client. I'm going to help you understand how the stock market works and how to pick your investments and keep your cool no matter what the stock market is doing. Because if you keep selling out of 6K every time it crashes, you are delaying your retirement by decades. That 6K could have easily grown already to 30 or 40K if she had just left it alone, right? So it's not about punishing your past self, but it's just about learning from your past mistakes so that you don't repeat them. Because the point of all this investing is to work less. Unless you love working yourself to the bone and burning yourself out and living paycheck to paycheck, like that's not the vibe for me. The goal of money is to grow wealth so that I can be completely work optional and not ever have to like ask for PTO or worry about where my bills are going to be paid from at all. So that's one case of how I didn't even need to know how much money my client had, but it was very clear that she needed me to help her with her mindset. But then, of course, after the first onboarding call, I asked her, okay, how much cash do you have and where? So in general, I feel like it's just beneficial for you in general to know how much cash you have and where and why. And if you have credit cards, what kinds do you have and why? And what your interest rates are if you're in debt, whether it's credit card debt or student loan debt. It's also, you should absolutely know how much you're investing in retirement, what kinds of funds you're investing in, which retirement accounts, and why you are prioritizing certain accounts or not. So all of this information is really useful when you have your intro sales call with me. But if you come to me and you're like, I don't know, then I will help you know when we start coaching. You don't have to wait until you have your finances together, because that's like waiting to have your mental health together before hiring a therapist. Like, I help people who don't have their finances together. I help people who feel like they have it together, but they know that it could be even better. So that's how I roll in terms of the first call with me, the sales call. And then once we onboard, then we'll centralize your money so you can see it all in one place, because all of y'all need to be knowing what your net worths are, where all your money is all over the place. If you don't know your net worth, that's a sign that you're avoidant of money, you're ashamed of money, you might be building wealth, but you're afraid of your potential. I had one client who, thanks to my coaching, I helped her realize she had a 400K net worth. Before working with me, she was scared to add up all the numbers, but I quickly did them for her, because to me, numbers are neutral. They mean nothing about you as a person and your value as a human. They're just neutral. And the point of money is to ease human suffering for yourself and loved ones. Like, yeah, that's my autistic, neutral, direct definition. Like, stop making it about you and your ego and see money for what it is, as a tool for you to ease suffering and also just enjoy your life. So Let's see, other questions that I get from people. What age range do I work with? I've worked with people who are in their early 20s. I believe one of my youngest clients, Nora, was 24 when she hired me. She's not even 30 yet, and she already bought a house. Baller. And she also got a raise because she advocated for a raise in order to, get paid more. She was just like, I speak Spanish, I deserve a raise. And she freaking got one. And I believe that she also helped her colleagues get raises too. So I love what I do because it's not just 6 months and then see you never. It's like, no, we will stay in touch. And I love seeing how this client has already bought her dream house and already has a garden, and all this fun stuff. And she's not even 30 yet. Like that just makes me so happy and excited for my clients. So I have clients in their 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s. I have helped clients who are older in their 40s and 50s return to themselves post-divorce. If you look at my old podcast episodes, there was one that I did that's titled Post-Divorce Money Moves with the Investing MILF, Bindu. That's a really fun episode because Bindu came to me after a divorce and she didn't feel confident investing. And then after 6 months of working with me, she had 2 investing apps on her phone and was just excited to play around, but also be very intentional with her investments. And she was really confident with money. So you should definitely check out that Unicorn Millionaire Podcast episode too. So there is no age limit. I help people of all ages with their money. I help people set themselves up for retirement. I help people really do the identity work. I feel like the closer people get to retirement, the more they are interested in identity work and who they are and how they want to live their remaining years. So I think it's so cool that I'm 35 and I attract people of all ages because they feel so safe and comfortable with me because I'm so transparent and honest about all the things I've been through, whether it's the family estrangement, the food stamps and Medicaid in my 20s, all the struggles I've had, but how I was quickly able to turn around my situation financially just by understanding how to invest every dollar and be super intentional. That's changed my life. And I love how it's helping change my clients' lives. Another question I get asked is, do I need a certain amount of income to join? No, I've had clients who are making 50K benefit from coaching. I've had clients who are making almost 300K benefit from coaching. And it's really the same process I go through all of them with. I want to know where your cash is. Are you making pennies and interest? How can we move your cash to the right free high yield savings accounts? You shouldn't be paying money or dealing with account minimum fees or getting charged like Ghetto, Wells Fargo, and Bank of America charge you for their crappy interest rates, which makes no sense. I help people escape the cult of big banks and into high yield savings. And then I help them come up with a debt payoff plan, whether it's student loan debt, credit card debt, car loan debt. And I help all of them make sure they understand what they're investing in, whether it's the investment accounts you already have, like your 401k or 403b at your job, or investment accounts you should also be opening up. No matter what your income is, you should all be having an IRA or ideally a Roth IRA account, depending on your tax bracket. So I help you open all these accounts. I help you pick all the investments within these in easy, simple ways. And we really just do a whole overhaul on your money situation in these areas, as well as building your credit score and not being afraid of credit cards and seeing them as evil, but as tools to boost your credit score. Because all of us should be having the goal of having an 850 credit score, because you never know when something bad will happen. I remember something happened with my business credit card, and ideally your business card shouldn't affect your personal credit score, but Capital One can be shady like that sometimes. And I opened up a Capital One business credit card and my personal credit score tanked by 100 points. But when that happened, I was like, thank God I already had a pop in credit score. So it's not the end of the world. I'm not trying to take out a loan right now. And it just hit different. It felt really good to know that despite my score dropping by 100 points, I still had an excellent credit score. So these are all of the levers that I help my clients pull and pick. We focus holistically on everything, as well as your mindset, as well as, are you fulfilled in your life? What areas do you not feel like you're fulfilled in? I do a lot of identity work and ask the good questions. Like one of my clients, Melissa, is like, dang, Charly, you ask the good questions. I've helped a lot of my clients strengthen their romantic relationships. I've helped some clients realize that they're in toxic relationships that are weighing them down and holding them back from living their highest selves. And I've helped clients help their non-employed spouses, at least at the time, open up their own retirement accounts, open up spousal IRAs. So it's not just about you, it's about you as like the ripple effect that building wealth will help you create and the impact that you will leave within your own communities. I do one-on-one coaching, but it's really community oriented because all the healing that you do will ripple out to your people. So I love what I do. So I think that is it for these questions so far. I will do another edition. Let me know. You can send me an email at charly@travelercharly.com. That's Charly with a Y. With any questions, anything you'd like to have me answer in the next podcast episode. And you can also, in that same email, ask me to add you to my Crushed at Retire Early email list. I love my email list. It's poppin'. People love my emails. They stay on that. And I send a lot of juicy emails too. And yeah, last but not least, if you're interested in working one-on-one with me, I invite you to book a call at the link in the show notes to get started with one-on-one money coaching with me. And yeah, let's do this before the year ends, before the holiday craziness starts. September, the fall is a really nice time for that change from the summer heat and going out and about to like, okay, starting the hibernation phase, but let's look at our money so that we're not stressing out about money when the new year starts and come tax time. If you get started now, you'll wrap up coaching before tax time hits so that you're even more prepared and you can save a lot on taxes and just know finally that you're making the moves that you know you've been delaying for years at this point. I'll help you collapse your timeline to retirement and help you condense years worth of moves that would take you a long time to do yourself into 6 months when it comes to working with me. All right, y'all, this was so good. Let me know any questions that you have, any thoughts, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.
Thank you so much for listening and dropping into today's episode. If you want to connect with me and work one-on-one on your money goals, I invite you to book a call to learn more about how I can help you with my money coaching program. I work with folks one-on-one long-term so that you can twerk your way to early retirement. I also want to invite you, if you haven't yet, to join my Unicorn Millionaire newsletter. I love dropping money gems through my newsletter right to your inbox, and I share my latest updates and invites to my free personal finance classes. What is better than that? I'm getting them from an MB who is queer and can't stop, won't stop talking about that Roth IRA freak life. So get that juicy goodness at the link in the show notes, and don't forget to visit my blog, unicornmillionaire.com, and come twerk along with me on Instagram at Traveler Charly. That's Traveler Charly with a Y because, that's how they spell it down in Mexico. The information contained in the Unicorn Millionaire Podcast is provided for general informational use only. Your purchase, download, and use of this material does not constitute a client relationship. The views expressed by the Unicorn Millionaire Podcast hosts and guests are not intended to constitute accountant, legal, tax, certified financial planner, stock advisor, or other professional advice. Users of this podcast material should not act upon this information. Users of this podcast material should do their own due diligence by independently verifying all information, products, and services mentioned with their own qualified professionals before making any decisions. We assume no responsibility for information contained in the Unicorn Millionaire Podcast and disclaim all liability with respect to errors, inaccuracies, omissions, misleading, or defamatory statements. Users of this podcast accept and understand the terms of the disclaimer.